Okay, so for this one we're still going to be using multipliers, but we're going to use them to be able to do increase and decrease. Now it is very similar to what I've done before. There is just an extra step when we're finding the multiplier. So to begin with, when we're doing this, when I did the original percentages, I always said that you start with 100%. Okay, so that is the total amount that's originally there. So this 100% would be the 50. Now, if we're increasing it by 10%, before I said that you just find 10% and you add it on. Now, for the multiplier's sake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 10% onto the 100%, and that gives me 110%. So all it means is that my final answer will be 110% of what it used to be. Now, with multipliers, I said before that they have to be a decimal. So what we then need to do with this is then divide it by 100. And we get 1.1. So my multiplier for this question is going to be 1.1. Okay, and then similar to before, we do the multiplier, so 1.1 multiplied with the amount that we have in the question. So we're starting off with £50. So this is the multiplier. Okay, and we just multiply them together on a calculator. You can do it in your head if you want to, but the whole point of this method is that you can quickly do it on a calculator and you get 55. Okay, so the answer for the first one is 55. So for B, similar start. So we always start with 100%. Now this time we are decreasing, so that means that the amount is going to get smaller by the percentage in the question. Okay, so because it's 5%, I'm actually going to subtract it, because normally we'd find 5% of £120 and we would take the answer away from 120. So when we take those percentages away, that's 95%. So it means I have 95% left. But then I need it to be a multiplier, so I do that percentage divided by 100, which gives me 0.95. Okay, so this is my multiplier. Okay, and then we can use that to then decrease £120 by 5%. So we do the multiplier, I'm just going to call it M, multiplied with the amount that we started with, which is £120, and we just type that into a calculator. So 0.95 multiplied with 120, and we get £114. Oh, missed a 1 there. Oh, that's messy. 114. There we go. Okay, so similar idea. We're going to do exactly the same thing for the ones below. So increasing. So we start with 100. Increase means we're getting bigger. So I'm going to add the percentage that's in the question, so 35%. And that means we get 135% in total. We then need to divide that by 100. So we get 1.35 as our multiplier. Okay, then we're going to do the multiplier, so 1.35 multiplied with the amount that we started with, which is 150 grams. And again, we just type into a calculator. So 1.35 times by 150. Yep. SD 202.5. Okay, now again, we just use this because one, it's much quicker, and two, some of the percentages can get quite awkward. So using a calculator is much easier, but obviously only if you've got a calculator. So next one, we're decreasing by 52%. So we start with 100. Decrease means we're going to subtract, and we've got 52% that we're subtracting by, which means we've got 48% left. Then we do 48% divided by 100 to make it into a decimal, which is 0.48. And then we do the multiplier, so 0.58 multiplied with 400 grams, and then that will give us the answer. So 0.48 multiplied by 400, we get 192. Okay, I'm going to quickly just do one more, just a slightly more awkward one. Okay, now this will only happen with increase, it won't happen with decrease, just because you can't decrease anything by more than 100%. But again, it's very simple, it's the same, exactly the same method as before. So again, we start with 100%, we're increasing, so it means we're adding the percentage of 215. And we get 315%. Then we divide that by 100 and we get 3.15. Now normally our multiplier is either 0 point somethings or 1 point somethings. This is an exception just because we're increasing by something that's bigger than 100%. Okay, and then we do the same thing. So the multiplier 3.15 multiplied with the £312. So 3.15 multiplied with 312, and we get that amount, so £982.80.